Game 2 from Curtis Granderson Stadium is going to be a 15U matchup. The Chicago Cubs Nike RBI against the Chicago White Sox Nike RBI. Hi, everybody. I'm Austin Kroom. Here alongside me, Kevin Malater. The first of many games for this weekend here on WCSN. Kevin, man, is it good to be back.
It's great. I mean, last year was so much fun, and then to start it off today in that 18U game, extra innings, 9 innings, and we have a 2-2 tie between the Cubs and White Sox Nike RBI teams. I mean, we're back. We're back, and it's great to be back, and it's fun, and we get a rematch of the championship game from last year in the 15 division to get us going here.
We do get a matchup of the 15U division winners, those being White Sox, at the time White Sox Ace, this year White Sox Nike RBI, Nike the new sponsor for all the teams, not just the Midwest, but overall in general. So it's going to be Carlos Cerda for Cubs Nike RBI facing off against Joey Ireland, Derek Holmes, and Demir Heidelberg. First pitch foul tipped off the bat of Ireland. And it was at 7:06 that start.
So the key thing for Cerda here is going to just be pounding that zone with a lot of fastballs. You're going to try to overpower him in this scenario. And obviously there's, so much adrenaline flowing through you right now in this situation as the game one starter. You're the guy who gets the ball to open up this game.
And he's going to start it with a liner to the third baseman, Laporte. He'll glove it, and that's the first out.
Nice play there at third by Laporte. He read that ball perfectly. I thought that ball had a chance to maybe squeak through the 5-6 hole. Instead, he kind of back cuts that baseball a little bit and makes a sliding grab, exactly what you want to see from your third baseman there. He read that ball perfectly and made a nice catch.
Well, Kevin, in the first game, at least last year, offensively, that was the juggernaut. Now it has been defense. We saw a lot of double plays, a lot of really good web gems and rangeovers, infield and outfield. You think it's going to be much of the same for the 15U as it is for the 18U?
I think so. I think we're going to see the ball put in play a lot more. I just think because of the fact that most of these guys are freshmen and sophomores in high school. Hold off here.
On the ground to the shortstop. He'll throw over to first. First stop, Marquez. He's going to make it. That's the second out. It was Tomazic, the shortstop, threw over to Marquez. Got him stretching, but finish what you were saying, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see plays like that. So, I mean, these are still really high-level quality ball players. But I think just the lesser experience, they got a couple of years fewer than the guys we saw earlier. So you may see it's going to be a lot harder to hit one out. I think the odds of an 18U guy hitting one out here are a lot higher than a 15U guy. Now, granted, unless the next Bryce Harper or Mike Trout is playing here, I don't think so. But it's going to be a lot more small ball oriented. And if you're a fan of small ball, then these 15U games are for you. It's a lot of heart. There's a lot of passion. The bunt really comes into effect as well as a stolen base.
So it's going to be an 0-1 count to the first baseman, Demir Heidelberg. He hits a high pop-up. It's going to stay in the infield. Who's going to call it? It's going to be the first baseman, Marquez, and he'll glove it for the third out of the inning. We're going to go to the bottom of the first. Cubs are due up for their first licks here on WCSN. After going 1-2-3 defensively, Cubs Nike RBI is going to be due up to face Jose Rodriguez. First time they're going to see him. Rodriguez goes to Rivas High School. He's set to graduate in 2026. So still a couple of years. And Kevin, my goodness, we might be out of college by that point.
I hope we're out of college by that point. I mean, we're both scheduled to graduate in 25. I hope we're out of there by then.
I plan on it. But he's going to face Tomazic, Vizine, and Eric Delgado. But he'll start off with quite a wild one. It's a 1-0 count.
And this is going to be interesting to see kind of the responses now. And we saw in that championship game between these two teams a summer ago, in the firepower on display. These two pitchers, these threw their warm-ups in the first inning, trying to establish the fastball, but the command just is not there. I think probably nerves has a lot to do with that.
Nerves definitely has a lot to do with it, Kevin. You're not only representing your team, but also your city, and that's going to play somewhat of an effect. But I also do agree with you. I think that the wildness motion could definitely be in play. We've seen 3 straight pitches, 3 somewhat wild ones, and I do believe that the nerves might be playing a factor.
And they're all on the fastball, too. And that's the thing to keep in mind is that you're trying to establish the strike zone with your fastball. Breaking balls is so hard to figure out where the strike zone is. The fastball is the perfect indicator of it. But right there, Rodriguez, 4-pitch walk issued there.
But all of them being on heaters. Do you think, Kevin, that the off-speed pitch, specifically curveballs, do you think those might be a bit harder to throw with them being younger and not having the grips yet?
Yes and no. I mean, at this point in the high school level, the guys who are pitchers can throw curveballs, they can throw sliders, especially with just how far the game has come. I mean, there's 14, 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds out there who are throwing sinkers. I mean, they all know the grips, they all know how to pitch. It's just about controlling the emotions and controlling the game. That's where the youth comes in. It doesn't come in on knowing how to pitch. It comes in with your control of the game.
So Vizine shows bunt, and it was the 0-1 pitch that he showed bunt on, so we'll be even at 1-1. And Tomazic on first, 4-pitch walk to him, 4 straight wild heaters. So we'll see what happens. The 0-1. Swinging fouled back.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting to see here. You know, I'm intrigued. We talked about a little bit in the top half of this inning, just how aggressive these base runners are. We saw in that first game they came at a premium. 2-2 tie in the 18U game between these two programs.
I mean, it's not what we saw last year or what you're really going to see softball-wise. I know on the other field at one point it was 10-3. So there is just a bunch of numbers being put up. You may not see that here is only at Curtis Granderson Stadium, how the dimensions are way bigger. It is the school of a D1 program. And these guys are in high school, but some can put it out. When the name that comes to mind, 15U-wise, Kevin, Sir Jamison Jones. I have a feeling that he'd be able to put one out here.
He definitely could. I mean, he had so much raw power last summer.
That's going to be a strikeout.
And he was so fun to watch. Plus, he was an electric defender behind the dish. His command of the game and his control of that pitching staff was something that really struck out to me. It's just how well he managed that pitching staff on that White Sox ace team at the time. And that's something that is hard to find from a guy his age.
It's a looper off the bat of Delgado, and it's just going to land a hair foul.
That was close right there.
That was.
I think that ball maybe tailed away last second. Tough to tell from our angle. Cubs dugout definitely thought that was an extra base hit, or at least a fair ball at the very least for Delgado.
So Cubs being the home team, their third base dugout. White Sox Nike RBI first base, they're the road team. Tomasic's on first. Eric Delgado, the right fielder's in an 0-1 count. Fastball down the middle, 0-2.
And right now, since he got that first strikeout, he found some comfort with that fastball there. Look at how he's gone around the strike zone. He's kind of touched each part of it in terms of the rectangle.
Inside, it's a strike 3 looking back pick. Not going to be in time to get the shortstop Tomazic, but 2 straight punchies in a row, 1 swinging, now 1 looking.
That was a running fastball there, probably a cutting motion out of the hand of Rodriguez. And right there, he paints that inside corner against Delgado. He was trying to draw a ball there.
So Elias Diaz, the catcher, pops one up, just foul from the first base bag. So Heidelberg, the first baseman, is going to catch that one, and that'll be the end of the inning. It's going to be 0-0 going to the second inning here on WCSN. Leading off for White Sox Nike RBI is going to be Mason Jarrett. After him, Mario Medina and Braden Jones. So it's 4, 5, 6, the meat of the order here for the South Side. First pitch is low.
And for Serta here, he got crafty in that first inning, and he did a good job.
1-0. High drive into center field. Anthony Vizonnet is going to run back. He'll make the catch.
That's a great read by Vizonnet out in deep center field, the deepest part of the ballpark, as you can probably see on your screen. He ran a long way for that one, and he kind of hesitated off the bat because I think he was just trying to get a read on it, because that ball, I think, went a lot deeper than I think a lot of people in this park expected, including myself.
So it's actually going to be Amir Rule who will be catching today. Says he's wearing 48 on our rosters. It says he's 41, but switching it up a little bit, so it's Amir Rule, the catcher. He'll be ahead in the count 1-0. The pitch. Off speed's low, so it's 2-0. It's kind of been one of the factors here, Kevin. Most of these guys, they are in high school. They won't have the most up-to-date of rosters. We saw that last game, one of the pitchers for the South Side. His number was not accurate for what the scoring roster said, so we were a bit confused. Joe Random was out there pitching for a couple innings.
You were going on and on about that during the breaks of that game, especially as we were hitting extra innings, and he kept going back out there. By the way, we're talking about Sammy Castillo, by the way.
Yes. That is going to be a 4-pitch walk, though, to Amir Rule. So there's going to be a runner on first for the DH today, Braden Jones.
And right now, this is a crucial at-bat for me when I'm watching Serta out there on the mound. Watch how he responds. Watch if he's able to continue to attack that strike zone. Watch if he's able to bounce back and just kind of ignore that 4-pitch walk he just gave up, because that was a 4-pitch walk is the most uncompetitive at-bat you can have as a pitcher. Even if you give up a first-pitch home run, at least you're being competitive in that at-bat. If you give up a 4-pitch walk, it's not very competitive.
Yeah, it is. It's not competitive, Kevin, but we saw it on the other side as well for the Cubs Nike RBI. Their first batter facing was a 4-pitch walk. All fastballs, all in the dirt. So it's not necessarily a problem if you're able to lock in after. It's just really the problem if that it's a 4-pitch walk and then another 4-pitch walk, and then you're going full. And then you might have to start warming up guys in the bullpen, especially with it being 7 innings.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just managing those pitching staffs becomes a lot harder As we're having a long conference out there, I'm wondering if it is because of the jersey number.
It might be. It was either between the jersey number or the pinch runner rule that we saw used in last game. You are allowed to have one pinch runner for one batter, and that batter is able to stay in the game even after somebody's been put on the bag.
Typically, every team will use it on their catcher.
Typically. It's popped up just right of the first base bag, so Marquez is going to make a catch. That's the second out of the inning.
The only time I've ever seen that is with a pitcher, but every time it's going to be a catcher always because these games, the point of these games, especially these tournaments, they want to speed up the game as much as possible because of that 2-hour time limit. And so in case that they're coming close, they want to make it as many innings, get it as many innings in as possible, I should say.
So an unofficial, like, pitch clock, in air quotes, not a pitch clock type situation. You know what I mean?
The pitch clock before the pitch clock was the courtesy runner for catchers, yes.
Okay.
And pitchers.
Okay, so.
Because pitchers are people too, Austin.
Yes, I'm well aware. You and your PFPs.
PFPs.
All over the place. All right, so Mateo Morales, first pitch to him is going to be in the dirt with a running Amir rule, and it's going to bounce off the glove of Elias Diaz, so it will be a stolen bag.
Yeah, and right there, Diaz got a good job getting the glove in front of it. He could not find that baseball, and I love how Serta immediately pounced off the mound, came crashing towards the plate to back up his catcher right there, collecting that baseball and preventing Rule from, or his courtesy runner, I should say, take third base.
So that courtesy runner will actually be used. Find out who it is in a second. 2-0 to Morales. Swings, and it's just going to be a liner to the shortstop, Tomazic, and that'll end the inning. Another 0 is going to be put up. One runner will be left on. We're headed bottom of the second inning. 0-0 here in Chicago. The lefty, Will Laporte, is going to lead off the bottom of the second inning for Cubs Nike RBI. Still a 0-0 game, and no hits have been put up as the first pitch is outside.
All righty, so we got more defense, more great pitching. I think that's going to be the story of these first two games on the baseball side of things.
Do indeed, partner. 1-0. Inside, but it's a strike regardless.
Right there, Rodriguez, he's starting to use that running fastball. It's got more of a two-seam action because the cutter would cut back into the lefty. He's running it away from left-handed hitters. That's the thing, what he's done so well with it. He's starting it essentially he's aiming at because he knows he can command that pitch. He is aiming that baseball essentially at the batter's rib cage because he knows that movement's going to take it back inside. And by inside, I mean inside towards the plate, not at the hitter.
Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. But you could also see that Will Laporte stands over the plate. He's somewhat crowding it mainly with his upper half, not as much as his lower. So that cut fastball inside is really dangerous.
That's what I would go with here.
Swing and a miss. First punch of the inning, and there's one away.
That's what he went with. He started it down the middle and worked it away. We haven't seen him do that yet to a lefty. But a nice job there. He goes away with that running fastball. And a big first down, third strikeout of the game for Rodriguez. And he's settled in very nicely after that 4-pitch walk.
So here's Jose Saucedo. First pitch is inside, almost at his kneecaps. Kevin, you probably know what I'm going to say. Another really good name. There's just too many of them. It's almost unfathomable. 1-0. Swinging fouled off his own leg.
Great names.
Great names.
Croom Island's a good one too, though.
That is a great name. I checked my Twitter, but I really can't. My phone's duct taped to a pole right now.
You're just going to say that in no context in the second inning?
Okay, so after that strike down, I will explain that my phone is being used for what you people at home are able to see the field. It's being duct taped to a tripod. So if I any perspective here, just think about it. Strike three looking. So after one swinging, he gets one looking, and Jose Rodriguez is feeling it.
Number 4 for Jose on the bump right there. And he went down and in to start the at-bat and continued to work and work and work away until he got that strikeout.
First pitch to Marquez is nowhere near the heart of the plate. So 2 straight punchies. Looking for his third of the inning. Trying to face at least the minimum. That one's going to be a bit in. That waving motion from the home plate umpires is starting to get to me a little bit.
You gotta wait. You almost need like the point, the emphatic one.
The finger guns. That one's going to be nowhere near. Fastball runs way too far outside, and it's 3-0.
I'm just going to start calling that pitch to the runner at this point. I mean, that's just
fine.
I mean, it's just the way it works down and away from those left-handed hitters. He can use it on both sides. It's weird how he started to work back more outside with it. In my mind, I feel like in this scenario, you would go with that pitch on the inside. He goes with that pitch away again.
He might know something about Cesar Marquez that we don't know. Maybe he's seen a scouting report or two. The 3-1. That's going to be another strike, and it's full. See, that time he went with the finger gun, and I thought it was going to be ball 4 just by the way he did it. That one's strike 3 looking. 3 batters, 3 punchies. 1 swinging, 2 looking. Jose Rodriguez is feeling it, Kevin.
Yes, he is.
We're going to go to the third inning. It's still 0-0 here at Les Miller Field. First batter is Brent Nevels. He's going to be facing Carlos Cerda, and the first pitch he sees hit on the ground to the shortstop, Tomazic. He'll throw. 1 out.
Well, that was
A closer play than expected, actually.
probably should have been closer, or a lot not closer, I guess is the way I'm trying to describe it.
I know what you're trying to say.
I mean, a couple of double clutches there at short that probably were unnecessary. I guess he's trying to gather himself and, get behind that throw, but my goodness, that was close.
And Hayden Layson is going to put it right back to the mound, so Cerda's just going to flip it to Marquez. 2 pitches and quickly 2 outs.
Well, now a whole nation is ready for this one right here.
Whole nation is ready for this one. Bit of your nation, bit of my nation. Joey Ireland. These names are great.
My bet here, and I'm going to guess that Ireland's going to take this pitch.
We'll find out. And rightfully so, it's upstairs. There you go, Kevin.
Thank you.
Take your bows, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, no team is – I mean, anytime you're the third batter and the first 2 pitches are outs on 2 pitches, you as the third batter are going, I don't care if it's down the middle, that's a straight take.
Yeah, that's a –
You could get a batting practice pitch thrown at you, and you're still taking it.
It could be the biggest get-me-over pitch. It really doesn't necessarily matter.
You're not making it 3 for 3.
1-1. Hit on the ground to the third baseman, Laporte, but it's going to go underneath his glove. So it's the first hit of the game for both sides, that being a single off the bat of Ireland.
And Laporte right there, I think, made a business decision to get out with that ball. That ball was hit so hard off the bat there of Ireland. He got in front of that, and he put all effort behind it, turning the hands inside, and he just got it around, and he drove it down that third base line. A good piece of hitting there.
So you're saying the strength of a nation was able to get behind that one?
Yes.
Oh, I got him. His mouth's open. His mouth is open. So it's going to be Derek Holmes with a runner on first after the Ireland single. Righty-righty matchup. The runner's going to go. Throw down. Not going to be in time. Stolen bag.
Ireland is probably out on that play. If it's a fastball from Cerda, the hanging breaking ball meant that Diaz had to wait an extra second before he could catch and transfer and go down to second base with that ball. And that's why Ireland's able to sneak in there.
And he's cheating at one that's hit to left field. Left fielder's going to make it. That's going to be the third out of the inning. So after a single and a stolen bag from Ireland, Holmes is going to pop out to the left fielder. There are still zeros on the board, that being the first hit of the game. We're going to the 4th inning. It is 0-0 here in Chicago. Bottom of the third actually is going to start off with Christopher Rodriguez. He fouls the first pitch he sees long and far away. Yeah, Kevin, you thankfully told me it's the bottom of the third, not the fourth. It's been quite a day.
For you.
Yes, the 0-1. Bounces his way to the plate.
Yeah, but I mean, we're in a point now in the lineup where these are at-bats in which Rodriguez has to attack quick, get those quick outs. They got some life. They got that base hit in the top half of this inning that hasn't been ruled a hit yet, hasn't been ruled an error yet. We're still waiting for confirmation.
Another one bounces.
But they had that momentum, and they just couldn't grasp it as Joey Ireland reached second base and was stranded there on that fly out with 2 gone.
So it's 2-1. Swing and a miss. It's 2-2.
And now this is at a point for Rodriguez also where you can't get too cocky, I should say, out there. Not confident, and not to say that he has been cocky by any means, but you just can't get in your head too much about, well, I just struck out the side 1 inning, make it 4 in a row now as he does that running fastball on the inside corner to get Rodriguez.
5th on the day, actually 6th on the day.
But you can't let that get to your head though as a pitcher, because then you start to feel yourself sometimes. And you're like, oh, I'm the man, and then you start to get shelled.
So I think, Kevin, I personally do not think that might happen because the first batter of the game, Tomazic, 4-pitch walk, all 4 of the fastballs bouncing their way to the plate. So he's now really been able to hone it in. So I don't really think anybody would have seen that. It's going to be an 0-1 count. The first pitch is going to get over the plate to the second baseman, Isaiah Martin. Fouled off his ankle. Got to make sure he's okay.
Thankfully, he is okay. He just gave a thumbs up to both his coaches. Just got caught up in the turf a little bit on that load there of his very aggressive and violent swing that he has. And sometimes your lower body, you torque it too much. You can sometimes have that happen where you just, especially on turf too, where your footing can get caught and you can trip and you can fall.
And sometimes that's just going to happen for guys who normally play on dirt and grass. Infields are just those fields in general. 0-2. Also going to bounce his way. Fastball is not able to make it. And you've somewhat seen that, Kevin. One, you played in high school yourself, but you see not only with travel ball, the way guys have to adjust from turf lips in the infield or sometimes going from grass to dirt. Another one that's going to be low.
Yeah, and it's a much easier adjustment going from dirt to turf than it is from turf to dirt.
Yes.
Because you know the consistency. You know that, hey, a couple of hoppers going to bounce a little bit higher. You know you have to give it a couple more inches or so on some of those high hit balls.
Another strikeout. That's the 5th in a row that one's looking.
The biggest effect really it has on turf versus dirt is really the outfielders and how you go about attacking a baseball, the way you try to cut it off, and also if you choose to let a ball drop in front of you, because on grass you can afford to let it drop in front of you and you know it'll probably just roll into your mitt.
Swing and a miss.
On turf, there's a chance it can just bounce right over your head.
Yeah, and sometimes I've seen that actually just within the past few weeks for calling some summer ball games, is the lip from that turf infield to then the turf infield again. There's sometimes different levels to that, and it can affect the ball in play. 0-1 is sailing his way to the backstop.
Yeah, but here it's a pretty much a flat surface the entire way. There's not really any true lips, the only lip really being the pitcher's mound.
Yeah.
But everything else is pretty consistent in terms of just the field surface.
1-1. Hit on the ground between the shortstop and third baseman. That's going to be a base hit for Thomas Tomazic. He's been on twice, but he's officially 1 for 1.
Yeah, and he's put up a couple of good at-bats. I mean, granted, the walk was almost a gimme at that point. Once he fell behind 3-0, you're just going to walk that first guy if you're Rodriguez. But here now, he fought, got a couple of good pitches, and he took it out in front of it and threw the bat at it and did a nice job making contact and getting aboard.
First pitch is inside to Anthony Vizine. It's going to get past the catcher, Amir Rule. So it's going to be a wild pitch, and Tomazic's going to be standing on second.
And that's right there where sometimes that running fastball can get things tricky for your catcher, especially Rule, because sometimes when you see how much a ball is running like that, especially running inside, some catchers will lay up thinking that ball's going to hit the batter. There's no way I'm catching this baseball. And right there's one of the few exceptions of that.
Swing and fouled off his foot. Bunch of those, especially coming against Jose Rodriguez. Guys are early on that running heater, Kevin. Haven't seen him use the off speed as much, so what do you really think would be the game plan here? Do you think sit that heater, or maybe he goes to the well?
I'm thinking you got to sit heater. I mean, just as a hitter, most hitters, especially at this level, are sitting heater, and they're going to lay off on a breaking ball.
1-1. He goes with the off speed, and it's a little looper to the shortstop, Ireland. He's going to make the catch. That's going to be the third out of the inning. We're going to the fourth now. It's still 0-0 here on WCSN. Donuts are still everywhere to be found as the first pitch on its way to Tamir Heilberg. It's going to be almost at his foot. Kevin, I feel comfortable enough saying I've made 2 mistakes already this game. It is now the 4th inning.
No, I mean, hey, I don't blame you one bit. It's a fast-moving game. This is game 2 for us.
Yep.
I can't imagine the state I'm going to be in come game 5 for me tomorrow and game 6 for me on Saturday. But, you know, that's a me and Ryan Sikora problem.
We'll find that out. That will be here on the mixture of WCSN networks, the 1-1. Slider's going to bounce. It's 2-1. Yeah, it's going to be a long couple of days for the both of us, Kevin, especially you. I mean, you know I'd likely fill in if need be, but –
Doubleheader last night.
Yeah.
Including 2 rain delays, 4-hour game.
4 hour for both or 4 hours for one?
4 hours for one, but
Wow.
but we were in the 6th inning and it was already 2 hours long in the first game before we went to delay, and the delay ended up canceling the game.
So it's 2-2. Swing and fouled. It's just able to get over that fastball. So Heidelberg's going to stay alive.
And so, I mean, this is now a spot where you just can't get some energy. Everyone does at this point, including us.
Yeah, we could probably use some. We'll
Let's get some energy going up here in the booth.
2-2.
0-0 game. These players right now, they're craving. I mean, you just see that dugout. I mean, Cubs Nike RBI, they're on the top step. Same with that White Sox Nike RBI. I mean, there's some guys who are literally jumping up and down every single pitch, clapping their hands, making some noise. They want to go.
And it's going to be hit to the third baseman, Laporte. He'll slide and fire to first. Marquez is jumping, and he's going to be off the bag. So Heidelberg is going to make his way to first and potentially start some noise for White Sox Nike RBI.
Yeah, first error of the ball game, and it goes to Laporte on an E5.
We'll count it. Board might not. Actually, the board is counting nothing right now. So,
high throw. I mean, first off, heck of an effort there.
Yes.
The slide there to stop that baseball to get back on up and make a throw. Now, granted, it was a high throw. It pulled Marquez off the bag. He came back down, and he made it close. I don't know whether his foot got down before Heidelberg already beat it out. That's the question right now that they're going with. But this is still a very interesting scenario here. The umpiring crew comes together, and they confirm he's safe at first base. Probably the right call. We can't go to New York with this one.
We cannot.
So I think that was the right decision because the first base umpire is only 10 feet behind the play is the best look at it. How can you go and, as an umpire from that perspective, it just doesn't feel right. You don't feel right as an umpire going as a partner and saying, hey, I'm 130 feet away or whatever distance he is.
Yes.
He's out. Unless you have a clear view that can definitely overturn the call. If you're not sure, you're going to go with whatever your partner says out there.
So the throw over to Heidelberg, he will be in there. As Mason Jarrett looks at the first pitch down. So, Kevin, in these situations, you said defense has really been the name of the game, especially Will Laporte at third. He's looked great already, except for that error. Time will be called before the pitch.
That's a balk.
It's a balk. Okay. So Heidelberg will be on second now. And taking a bit of a lead there as well.
There's your pitch clock violation.
There is your pitch clock violation. Mason Jarrett's ahead in the count 1-0. Called even at one apiece.
Look at that. I love that frame right there by Diaz right there. He starts away down, gets in a low squat, and just catches it and pops it up. But he does it in one fluid motion to make it look like he's going up to receive the baseball, not to make it look like he's bringing up the baseball.
Throw back to check on Heidelberg. It was an underhanded loop to the second baseman, Martin. You know, we don't see that too often. But I also understand the weaker aspect. If you go too hard, there could be no one there. You could completely overthrow the second base or shortstop. Heidelberg's dancing. Slider is down. Diaz, a great block. Kevin, we talked to him a bit earlier. He's an antsy guy. And he said, I love catching not only because I can help dictate what goes on in the field, he's always involved, so he's constantly moving.
You're the field general back there, and it's your job to do whatever you can to prevent as many runs from coming home. And plays like that,
inside.
do that.
Gonna check on him. Interesting.
Back pick at second action here.
Back pick at second is odd, especially if the pitcher, that being Carlos Cerda, wasn't paying attention. It could have clocked him in the head. Actually, they're going to call that a strike inside. So it's 2-2.
They'll tell you, though, it's all by design. Whether it actually is or not is a different story, but they'll tell you it's all by design.
Yeah, they'll say it's written up. Just off the end of his bat, and it's going to loop into right field for a base hit. Heidelberg is originally being waved home, will be given the stop sign. So it's going to be runners on the corners for White Sox Nike RBI.
So now this is an interesting scenario here because Cerda now has to get an out without either base runner advancing because you want to keep that double play ball. You want that DP ball up the middle. Now, granted, do you trade those two outs for a run is the singular question right now that dugout on the third base side is probably facing, discussing, and deliberating with.
Well, based on the defensive positioning as the runner goes, throw down to second, not going to be in time.
Never mind.
Now it's off the table after the stolen base at Jarrett. What I was going to say is that based on how the infield was playing, they were playing straight up. They weren't playing in. It's now going to be the opposite. They're now going to play in with two runners in scoring position. 0-1 to Rule. In the dirt, a great block. Diaz is being put to work back there.
Yeah, and credit to him for being active and engaged here. Now, if you fall behind 2-1 or 3-1 here, I'm putting Rule on intentionally.
1-1. Upstairs, heater misses.
He misses again, I'd walk him. If I'm the manager right now, that's the plan right now. You're trying to see if you can get him back.
Even with no out, with no runners out.
Exactly, because then you can get that force at the plate, and then you can get that lead runner out on a ground ball. You bring the infield in with no one out.
Swing and a miss, a liner. It's going to be hit by the third baseman, Laporte. The only miss on that one was Heidelberg at third. He was caught dead in the rights, and that's a really good double play. Wow.
Well, he swung 2-1 on a good fastball there by Serta. It was going to be a strike either way. He got way out in front of it and hit the snot out of the baseball. But once again, Laporte at third is making another diving play. And by the way, you know, he tried to turn 3 there too.
Yeah.
He tried going back to second before he realized that J-Man is there at second base.
He caught me with my mouth open. I didn't even know what to say. So there's 2 away, and the first pitch is going to hit Braden Jones square in the back. Been a more interesting inning than the past couple of innings. Still zeros on the board. Officially, the first 2 hits go up on the board. Officially. We've had them here for a minute, but we go off our book as a step off the mound there from Serta.
And right there, if we look back, and you know this is a close game, White Sox, Nike RBI is going to look at this inning right here if they can't become more productive.
And they definitely will. As strike down the middle to Mateo Morales. He's 0 for 1 today. He had a liner to the shortstop, Tomazic, who just ran to his left, put his glove up, and there it was. 0-1. In the dirt again. Runner's going to go. Diaz to throw down. Not going to be in time. Both move up.
That ball almost went into left field there.
Almost did.
Laporte leaped to make that catch. Diaz, you talked about the antsiness there. That may be the one time where it may hurt him a little bit is on those throws down to third base. Still, though, that's a strong throw from a catcher in a bang-bang situation.
1-1 offering. Inside. Almost hits the shoulder. And in this situation, Kevin, there are 2 away. What do you really throw to a guy like Morales?
Fastballs.
We'll see. 2-1. Was a fastball. Just not in the K zone, so it's 3-1.
More fastballs.
More fastballs.
More fastballs. You just got to keep going to the fastball in this scenario.
He's going to be right back out the middle and through for a base hit. One runner is going to score. Mason Jarrett's being waved on home. The throw, they got him. What an outfield assist. Anthony Vizine guns it home, and Elias Diaz lays down the tag on Mason Jarrett. Actually, no, Brendan Jones instead. That was him. He was going second to home. Not going to be able to win against the arm of Anthony Vizine. One's going to score on that RBI single, though. So we are going to the top of the 5th inning. It is 1-0 White Sox. They're up. Delgado is going to be up. His side, that being Cubs Nike RBI, is down 1-0 after the White Sox put up one of their own on an RBI single from Mateo Morales. First pitch Kevin thinks it probably should have been a strike, but it was a ball.
Should have been. That's good.
That's why you're up here and not down there. That one's also not a strike.
That one, not so much.
That one,
That was pretty clear.
about 7 baseballs off the plate.
I was going to say 13, but okay.
Okay. Could throw out some numbers here, but we'll leave it at that.
The sweep.
2-0. He's just chopped that. It's going to be in the air, but it's going to go out of play. Two and one is the count on the right fielder, Eric Delgado. Struck out looking in the first inning. Swinging, he slams that one to right field just a hair early. It's going to be another long strike, so it's 2-2.
Well, that's what happens when you get your hands out in front a little bit too early, like you said. When you come around and you make that contact and boom, the ball can go flying, but it's going to go flying foul because, once again, your hands are way out in front.
It's another one. It's going to be in the dirt after a couple of them, so it's a full count. Kevin, I think Eric Delgado, he might be kind of angry with himself. He missed it. That was a cut fastball from Rodriguez that hit right over the center of the plate.
Yeah, it was that sweeping fastball.
He's not going to miss that one. Gets it off the bat and is going to drop right in front of Layson in center field. Base hit.
Yeah, and so that's 2 of the last 3 pitches from Rodriguez was that sweeping fastball, the running fastball, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
That fastball that moves away from the left-handed hitter in towards a right-handed hitter. So it's not a cutter because a cutter would cut into a left-handed hitter's bat based off opposite-handedness. And 2 were left over the heart of the plate. Delgado got out in front of the first one. He recognized that pitch again. He sat on it, and he drove it the other way, knowing the trajectory of the baseball would take it towards left center field. Exactly what he wanted to do, considering the gap between Lacia and Morales.
So the first pitch to Diaz is a called strike outside. The catcher awaiting, swings the throw. They got the runner, that being Delgado. So a strike. So it's 0-2, and he was just in an 0-1 count with none away. He's now in an 0-2 count with 1 out.
How about that throw right there from Rule behind the dish? That's an impressive play. He was sitting there because the baseball was tipped there off the bat of Diaz. He made a great catch, and he, boom, ball perfect throw right down to second base, and the tag was applied in plenty of time. That's an impressive play right there with Rule. It's just the fact that that ball was tipped too off the bat is what makes that one so much more impressive to me.
Because that, once you tip it, changes the trajectory and speed of the ball. So the fact that he was able to move his glove, catch it, transfer, release, absolute seed to second. It's an impressive play. 0-2 on its way. Way inside. Diaz has to dance his way out of danger.
That's just the normal fastball there. I mean, he hasn't thrown that running fastball a lot to those right-handed hitters. I'm wondering it's because he knows that he can't start it inside because it's either going to hit him or he's going to miss badly inside. And then his other fear would probably be, well, if I can't go inside, my only option would be to start it away. And if I work it away, it'll probably cut over the heart of the plate to a right-handed hitter.
So he might have multiple fastballs he's working with.
I'm thinking he's got a 4 and a 2 here. 'Cause that's the only logical way of how he's able to change up the fastballs that much. That right there is the slider that he just missed with.
Yeah, but that might make sense why, if he's using, depending on the batter, the different fastball grips, why that slider might also bite as much as it does, because he's already thrown it that way with a heater. So now he's just got to flick his wrist. Thing's sailing. 2-2. Swing and fouled. Right off the glove, it seemed, of Amir Rule wasn't able to hold down to that one.
Yeah, and credit there, Diaz, for making a nice play and just staying alive by getting a piece of that baseball.
Jose Rodriguez works mainly first side of the rubber. It's going to be a chopper that's just going to land foul past the third base bag. Brent Nevels, the third baseman, really wanted to get it. He backhanded it, but not in play.
And You knew he wanted to feel that baseball. You wanted to make a Manny Machado type of play over there. You're going to third, backhand it from in foul ground and deep third and make a strong throw. He wanted to showcase the arm there.
Seems to be the second timeout Elias Diaz is called. Just regathering himself. You can see it, his stance now. He's way further down to the ground with the two-strike approach. Off-speed pitch is up. It's a full count. That's a walk to the backstop.
That's a quality at bat right there. You fall behind 1 and 2 early, and he works it all the way aboard. And now gets that courtesy runner for him. Good at bat there by Diaz, a well-earned base for him, and a well-earned increase in the on-base percentage.
So it's Trenton Falls is who's going to be the courtesy runner for the catcher. So Falls is on first. Will Laporte is on swinging and fouling that one off, but trying to just advance the runner over. Trenton Falls, you can see he's used for some wheels. He's a shorter build. He's almost built like me when I was a kid. You know he's going to have some burners. 0-1. Hardy hack.
You mean Henry Dominy?
The runner.
The actual track star.
I wouldn't call him a track star. But, trust me, he's better than I was. Inside of the back pick to first. Not in time.
To quote Henry exactly, he says, "I know how to beat you in a race." That's what Henry would probably tell you right now.
Oh, he could 100% beat me in a race. Just, does that make you a track star if you could beat us?
He was good in high school, but that's another story.
Just going to be a looper over the third baseman's head. It's going to land fair in left field territory. So it's going to be a cue-balled single for Will Laporte, and there's 2 runners on.
And right there, just another piece of bloop hitting there. I mean, just another bloop single. And just great piece of hitting and back-to-back at-bats for the Cubs.
Saucedo steps in. Runner on second, runner on first. He calls time before he even sees a pitch. First pitch on its way. Not near the heart of the plate. 1 ball, no strikes.
And for Rodriguez, we talked about the adversity and how he handled it earlier. He's got to do it again. Much more different situation, but you keep the ball low, you're a ground ball away from getting out of this inning with how good the defense has been, but as you can clearly see, he's behind 2-0.
Yeah, and after that miss, it makes sense that the coaching staff is going to want to take a conference on the mound just to really be able to be sure what's going on. If the runner, Eric Delgado, didn't get picked off for the throw down to second trying to steal, it would be bases loaded for Cubs Nike RBI. So they're somewhat behind. It would be bases juice. So if you got to look for Jose Rodriguez, he is ahead. But in the sense of him pitching, it seems like he's playing from behind.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because the pressure-filled situation here. When you're clinging to a 1-run lead as a pitcher, you overthink everything you do.
Yep.
Now, granted, most pitchers are overthinkers already because you're trying to be perfect each and every pitch. But in these scenarios, the ultimate perfectionist in you breaks out. And that's when those mistakes can come in. That's when you can hang a curved ball or leave a fastball right down Broadway and let it be hammered 450 feet to dead center.
Gotcha. 2-0. Swinging, it's another looper off the bat. Going to go over the head of the shortstop, Ireland. The throw into third. It's going to be on the money. Mateo Morales, he gets the lead runner with a throw over and fall over throw. So, technically speaking, that's a fielder's choice 7-5 putout.
Yep. I mean, that's such a tough spot there for the courtesy runner for Diaz in that scenario because he's holding back and has to cheat towards the back. That ball is in deep left center field, right towards center field. He's in line. That ball dropped in line with second base. And that ball's caught. He has to get back to the bag. That is a lose-lose scenario for him that ball was fielded cleanly, which the second it was fielded cleanly, you got to hope that Morales threw that ball away because you were not going to be safe if he made a good throw, which is exactly what happened there. Unfortunate for him, but a great defensive play and a heads-up IQ play by Morales out there in left field for the White Sox.
So Marquez is ahead after a misfire. He'll even the count up, swinging at something low. Had one apiece. But, yeah, Kevin, I do agree. I think the outfield, them playing in, realizing that a bunch of blooper hits have really just been falling today. You have to play in, so that heads-up awareness by Mateo Morales in left field. Just a good play to show him defensively. That's another blooper. Left side going to go into foul territory. The third baseman, Nevels, is going to range it behind him, and that'll be the third out of the inning. So a couple runners are going to be stranded, that being Laporte at second and Josiah Saucedo at first. We're now going to the fifth inning. Still 1-0. White Sox Nike RBI leads. It's going to be Brent Nevels facing Carlos Cerda. First pitch he throws is right down the middle. Top five. 1-0 White Sox Nike RBI leads. The 0-1 bounces his way off the glove of Diaz. Lights are coming on here, Kevin. Just makes the backdrop even more beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great ballpark. It's a great city. It's a great tournament for just
everything.
It's everything about this weekend is awesome, and everyone's doing it for the right reasons because they all want to be here. They all want to be part of something bigger than themselves, and it's awesome, and it's all surrounding these guys who are just phenomenal baseball players who are just thrilling and incredible and beautiful stories.
So it's now a 2-2 count. The first pitch that was thrown seemed like a get-me-over changeup that wasn't called. That one would be called on the outside black. So it's even 2 apiece to the third baseman, Nevels. Swings into right field. Eric Delgado, the right fielder, is going to camp under it. Out number 1.
And right there, Cerda, he went changeup heavy in that at-bat, which is something we haven't seen from him thus far, is the use of that changeup from him. He's normally very much fastball heavy, work the slider away, and then either with 2 strikes, maybe then you break out that changeup, or then you go back to the slider, back to the fastball, depending on which pitch heavy you were. There, he was changeup heavy and got that out on a changeup into right field.
So it's an 0-1 count to Hayden Lace in the center fielder. He's going to hit that one past the diving glove of Isaiah Martin for a base hit.
Well, Layson laced that ball to right field. I mean, no doubt about it. A fastball left over the heart of the plate. He was late on it too, but he just got there quick enough there in terms of the bat speed was there. He got around to it well enough, and he deposited that ball in the right field. Good piece of hitting there, and let's see what comes of it.
So the lineup card is going to flip over. Joey Ireland, the leadoff hitter and shortstop, is going to be up with 1 out, 1 on in a 1-run game in the top of the 5th inning. Throw over to first, not in time. Joey Ireland's 1 for 2 today. Had a single in the 3rd inning and was eventually stranded on second. But he'll be ahead in the count 2-0, or 1-0 actually.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it could be 2-0.
That was a really good stolen strike from Diaz.
Yeah, that's the definition of a stolen strike right there. That's a beautiful frame by Diaz because based off where that ball was going, that had no business being a strike. But that shows you, though, the quality of catcher he is.
And it's going to be ripped into left field, just going to land foul.
Boy, oh boy, Ireland so close to that one. Just a hair, and I mean hair in front of that baseball. He smoked that thing too.
And Hayden Layson was actually moving on that pitch. So he's going to have to trot his way back to first. One and two. It's going to be high pop-up into left field. Josiah Saucedo is going to make the catch as his hat falls off. He throws back to first. Not able to be picked by Cesar Marquez. It was off the mark as well. So trying to get the double play is the left fielder Saucedo, but he'll only get one.
And I love that hustle there by Saucedo out in left field, and I love the idea and the intent to go home with that baseball, or go to first, excuse me, with that ball after realizing how far off Layson came off the bag. He had such an aggressive lead, a very aggressive secondary lead. Despite not running on the pitch, he was still about halfway down the baseline upon contact. You naturally take a couple of steps forward and then realize the second that ball was caught, I got to get back to the bag.
He's going to go to second now on that ball, and it's actually going to go into the outfield past the shortstop and second baseman. So it'll be a stolen bag and an advance to third on the E2.
Yeah, and right there for Diaz, that was the right idea. Just there was no communication. Normally you can hear either from the dugout or from the infield, especially from the first baseman going runner, kind of just screaming that there's a runner coming.
1-0. In.
I did not hear that whatsoever, and I think that threw off the middle infielders as that no one went to go cover the base, and
Yep.
it left it wide open, and so that ball was naturally going to go into center field unless the Flash is playing shortstop or second base.
2-0. Flashing the leather was Diaz to take that strike.
Once again, just the frames from him have been excellent.
The stealer of strikes, why don't you? So it's 2-1 to the second baseman, Derek Holmes. It's upstairs. Diaz is going to have to step up and walk his way towards the mound. Hayden Layson is really being dancy over at third base, trying to just calm down his pitcher, Carlos Cerda, as he's behind the count 3-1.
Yeah, and right now, just following Layson here. Watch how far off he is from the bag. He's going to be even off the bag as the third baseman Laporte is.
High pop-up that's going to stay in the infield just right of the first base bag. It's going to be caught by Marquez. Had a couple of those today, so not surprising that he is able to get that one with no contest behind it. So we are going to the bottom of the 5th inning. White Sox Nike RBI still leads 1-0 here on the Windy City Sports Network. Christopher Rodriguez is going to lead off the bottom of the 5th inning for Cubs Nike RBI. Still trying to look to put up a run, and he's going to be behind in the count 0-1.
And this is a crucial inning. Rodriguez, Martin, and the lineup card flips over. Try to get something going as the 8-9 guys. Bring the top of the order up with multiple men on base. Let the big boys go to work for you.
That one's high and tight, so it's going to be even at 1 apiece. Rodriguez really kind of crouching over the plate. Pitch, swing and a miss. 1-2. Actually, he foul tipped it. Couldn't even hear it.
No, you couldn't. I'm not sure. I think it just maybe deflected out of the mid of rule, and that's why. But I guess we'll never know.
We will see. The 1-2 pitch from Jose Rodriguez is going to be on its way. That's another one high and tight.
Good leave. Upstairs cheese there. A lot of guys would go chasing when a
Eyes
guy
light
like
up.
Rodriguez is, climbing the ladder, especially after you go low, low, low. You see a pitch up, and you're thinking, oh, this is my time.
2-2. On the ground to the shortstop, Ireland. He'll double clutch and throw over to first. Heidelberg will stay on the bag. Good play from the both of them. It's 1 away.
Yeah, I mean, that's a strong play there. Charged, collected himself, and then made a sharp throw to first. And once again, the defense has been strong today for both teams, but really for this White Sox Nike RBI team, they are fundamentally strong and sound.
So there's one runner gone for the 9-hole hitter, Martin. First pitch he sees is down at his knees, but it is a strike. Number 90. You don't see those high numbers too often, Kevin.
No, you really don't, especially at the younger levels of baseball.
Another one on the ground. This time it's Neville's the third baseman into the infield to make the play. 2 grounders on the left side and 2 outs.
Smart play by Neville's right there at third base. He did a great job. He had the option, lay off and let Ireland go and charge it, round the baseball, make a throw to first, or you can cut off that angle right there. When you cut off that angle, you can take that ball and you can make the play a much shorter throw as well, and you can cut down when you have a guy like Martin running down to first base. Smart play there by the third baseman for the CWS.
2 gone to flip the lineup card over to the shortstop, Tomasek. First pitch he sees is a strike. Just able to clip the letters. 1-0 game. White Sox Nike RBI is leading. Bottom 5, almost towards the end of this one, this being a 7-inning contest. Swing and a miss and an off-speed pitch. 0-2. Really good slider.
Really good.
What do you think in this situation, Kevin, would be a good out pitch?
This is where you try the running fastball, backdoor him.
He's going to make contact, and it's going to be on the ground lightly to Holmes at second. He'll throw over to first. 5, 6, and 4, all those positions really got in some work in this half inning. We are going top 6. 1-0. White Sox lead it. Serta's still on the bump as he faces Demir Hittelberg. It's the first pitch he sees is on the ground left side. The shortstop Tomazic's going to throw to first. One pitch, one out.
And Tomazic there did a nice job realizing what he did wrong last time. Remember, he double clutched a couple of times, and then he rushed his throw, and he almost threw it to the softball field across the street. Now, luckily, Marquez was there to make the play.
Yeah.
At least prevent that ball from going out of play, as I should say. That time, he recognizes the mistake, and the good infielders do that. Once they make that first error, they'll say, hey, what did I do wrong? How can I fix it? It's that mental checklist. That time, he gathered it up, did one clutch, and then he threw it.
So it's even at 1-1 after an off-speed pitch looked like a changeup, goes right down the middle. And yes, Kevin, the best of the best, they make that one mistake and they won't have it again. That one's on the ground, and that's going to be a single to the left side of the infield. But the best of the best, you make one wrong or one fault, and you're not going to do it again either for that game, maybe even that series, because that's how you really get to the best of the best, but you start at this level doing that. So seeing Tomazic, the shortstop, he makes that error, he doesn't do it again. He's already on that step towards greatness. Amir Rule, the catcher, he's 0 for 1 today. He did walk in the second inning, but he's going to be up with Mason Jarrett, the right fielder, on first. Swing as the runner goes. Going to be a sharp foul ball. Make your way back to first, Mason Jarrett.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great jump off of first, and I would be shocked here if Serta does not at least give him a look.
He does give him a look. Umpire's going to stretch his wings out, signal the call on that one. 0-1 on Amir Rule. This will be the final game tonight, but we got a couple more days. Really good baseball and softball coming up. That'll be covered on both WCSN 1 and 2. You'll get a whole mixture of the crew. Tonight it's Cav Malater and myself, Austin Kroom. We'll see a mix. You'll see Ryan Sikora a little bit with Kevin and myself with Henry Dominy swinging another pitch. It's going to be fouled off the middle of the screen. Mason Jarrett's just getting in free cardio at this point.
Sometimes you got to get your steps in. What can I say?
I've already been notified multiple times by my watch saying I've not gotten my steps in.
I need to get my steps in today.
Might have to.
Long car ride this morning.
Might have to do some pole to poles today.
We'll get some poles in after the game.
Throw over to first.
Reinvigorate us before we go and
do some more work.
Do some more work. Produce some more content for
every one of you listening.
Exactly. We are for the people, after all.
We are for the people. So it's 1-2. Over the head of Amir Rule and out of the glove of Diaz. So Mason Jarrett's going to slide into second.
Heads up base running there. My Jarrett, what you love to see. There'll be some times where a guy, and I've had teammates in the past, I'm not going to name names, obviously.
Ooh.
But why would I do that?
No, I'm not saying that.
I've had teammates in the past.
I respect the neutrality and not going there, but going there in the sense that doesn't bring anybody's name up.
I've had teammates in the past, though, where they were called to steal on 3 or 4 times. They were gassed. And so that 5th time, they were like, I don't know if I can go again. So they didn't go on the pitch. The ball got the way, but they still stayed at first base because they were just so gassed at that point.
Yep.
So still, to have the mental and physical toughness that Jared just put on display there is something that's good to see.
And he's taking a decent lead off the second base bag, being somewhat held by Isaiah Martin. Bounces his way. That off-speed pitch did. It's full.
There's the curveball there. Haven't seen that pitch a whole lot often tonight. 12-6 motion, drops straight down on the vertical axis.
Thrown that breaker a couple times. So it's going to be 3-2 with a runner on. It's a walk. Honestly thought that hand motion was going to be a strikeout looking. This home plate umpire has been a bit confusing today.
Yeah, I mean, I think that fastball was going to be a ball most of the way. It never got the motion or run that I think Serta wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was hoping if he's going to go high with that pitch, he gets one of those fastballs where, you know, it's got some late tail to it, late carry to it, try to draw a swing there from Rule. Instead, doesn't get that whatsoever.
Yeah, and you'll see sometimes, depending on the pitch, if it has that late hook it needs, mainly the off speed. Sometimes it has that late sharpness to it. If it's a 4 or 2 seam, mainly that 2 seam, just depending. But you're now getting really late into this one. It's the top of the 6th inning. You're down by 1. You're just trying to throw the best pitches because defense has been the name of the game. So you're more than fine with having something go into play. It's just you got to get the right pitch over the plate. So 2 runners are going to be on for Braden Jones, the DH, who's a hit batter in his last AB. First pitch he sees, changeup for a strike.
Down and away. Good spot for a changeup there from Serta. And way to execute by the right-handed pitcher.
Hopefully that mound visit puts some new life into his bones. It is even at 1. That one bounced its way to the plate.
And once again, Diaz with a good block.
Diaz really has been moving quite a bit. He's been put to work. Throw over to check on the runner is going to be off the marks. So both are going to go up as that ball is into center. Even the throw to second won't be in time.
Well, you never like to see that in that scenario if you're any pitcher in the country, really.
He won, by the way.
Yeah, unfortunately that was clear. That's just a simple jump turn right there. He tried rushing because he thought that it was going to be closer than it was, and that's a really good block by Diaz right there. My goodness, saved the run.
Yeah, but he might be rushing again. And you see it on that fastball. He just pulled it way too far glove side, and you're not really worried about it now. His 2 runners are on. It's a fake steal a home or run into home. We'll have Serta throwing a heater inside. It's 3-1.
There's some people were saying that was down the middle. It wasn't down the middle, but from our angle up here, it looked like it got part of the strike zone.
A little bit.
At least looked like it could have clipped it.
But you can see as there's another walk, that being for Braden Jones as the bases are juiced. You see that Mason Jarrett on third base is running halfway down the line by the time the pitch is in. So this is forcing Carlos Serta and Elias Diaz to be fully prepared to cover home plate just in case. So you see that Serta and Diaz, their head is not in the batter. It's focused on the runner, and that's why the bases are loaded.
Yeah, but I will say, though, the best outcome if Jones is going to reach for Serta was what just happened, which was the walk there.
Yeah.
Because now you bring the force in. You bring your corners in if you're the manager. You play double play up the middle, which is exactly what they're doing.
First pitch.
You play to get the guy at the plate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that I completely agree with that because there is force anyway. Force anywhere. You tag any bag, just get it over. 2 straight misses out of the arm of Serta. So Mateo Morales, the left fielder, is going to be ahead in the count. 2 balls to no strikes. Three straight misses. That one actually gets past Diaz, but able to crab walk his way around and pick it up.
This is a scenario here for Cubs Nike RBI, which could turn quickly into a disaster. Right now, Serta needs to throw one down the middle. And I know that's a lot easier said than done.
He does it there.
But he needs to just keep doing that. There's been a couple of weak contact back to the mound. That's what you're hoping for, either weak contact to the corners or to the mound. Get the guy at the plate.
3-1. High pop-up that's going to go into foul territory right side. Marquez will make the catch. That probably was the best outcome possible if you're Cubs Nike RBI.
Yeah, and now you have 2 gone. You still have that force out anywhere now. You can push your corner infielders back now, which is what is good about that is now you don't have to put your corner infielders in position, which a little blue pit now could get over them and land in the infield for a base hit. Now they can play their normal positioning. They can just field 1 ground ball and end the inning.
First pitch to Brent Nevis. It's going to go through the K zone, so he is behind. But, Kevin, I do agree. It seemed that they were playing that double play, but Carlos Serta was pitching to the batter, not through the batter. And I think that that was somewhat affecting the way not only his heater had some motion, but his off-speed had some life.
Yeah, and there's certain situations where you want to pitch to the batter. That was not one of them, like you just said. He'll step off here. It's one of those also where you have to ignore the situation.
Yep.
And just know you're one pitch at a time every time.
1-1. It's going to be hit into right field, very high in the air. Eric Delgado is going to have to run in and make the catch. And that's going to get Cubs Nike RBI out of quite the jam. There was traffic all around. It's like Lakeshore Drive out here, but we're headed to the bottom of the 6th inning. It is 1-0 here on WCSN. Anthony Vizonnet trying to wake the offense up after the defense saved a decent amount of runs from coming over the plate. It still is a one-run game. Bottom of the 6th inning. It's getting towards the end, Kevin.
Yeah, it really is, and this is the opportunity now. This probably feels like the best chance for Cubs Nike RBI. Now, never say never. I mean, look, they came back twice. Their 18U team program did twice in that first game to put that game into 9 innings, a game in which it eventually was tied, which is a whole different story, which will have possible ramification on the standings later on in the weekend.
2-0.
This feels like the best chance. 2-3-4, fresh life. You're still facing the same arm, an arm that you're now seeing for the third time through. This is where you're typically in the game of baseball. The third time through the order is where you start to see the most success as a hitter.
2-1. 2 straight heaters, both of those really good frame job by Amir Rule. But yeah, I do agree that the third time through the order can make it really difficult for the batter to overthink it. It's kind of bread and butter at that point. You know what's coming to you. That one's hitting the left field on a bit of a line. Teo Morales will make the catch. Anthony Vizonnet seemed like he knew what was coming to him, was still just a hair early.
Yeah, he sat fastball right there, and there's only so much you can do with that fastball considering the different directions that pitch moves at. He's got the 4-seam, he's got the 2-seam. But the other thing, though, that is impressive is that Morales in left field was on it immediately. He was jumping right off the spot. He knew exactly where to go when he camped down on him, and a nice play.
First pitch, past Delgado. Put his legs back, thought he was trying to act the call away, but he will not be able to. He's behind the count 0-1. Call it even. One. High pop-up left side of the infield is going to go just into the left field grass. Catch will be made by Joey Ireland, almost in foul territory. Second out.
He had a whole nation behind him to make that catch right there.
Sure did.
nice play, good read off the bat. And by the way, I love the communication there between Ireland and Nevels right along that foul line. Both of them. And originally Nevels was calling for it, saying, I got it. Shortstop has priority. It's the unwritten rule of the infield that the shortstop gets command of it, just like the center fielder gets command of the outfield. Ireland said, no, my friend, I have you. I got you.
And that's going to be on a line to the third stop. Nevels, a 1-2-3 inning for Jose Rodriguez. We're going to the 7th inning. It is 1-0. White Sox Nike RBI leads. So there's going to be a new pitcher on the bump. You guys might know him. He was just playing left field. Josiah Saucedo. He'll now be towing the slab as Sam Merrill is going to be stuck into left field as the defense for Cubs Nike RBI is going to try to only allow one through top 7. First pitch is in for a strike. Saucedo works very straight up to the plate. It's going to be ripped to the third baseman, Laporte. High throw to the first baseman, Marquez, but he'll make the catch. 1 out.
And I like how Saucedo's come in and he's just firing strikes. It looks like he's just playing catch out there. And that's what you want to see out of your bullpen guy, is him playing pitch and catch with his battery mate in Diaz. It's a good sign for him.
And he looks really comfortable. He was playing really good defense in left. And the fact that he's able to just switch positions at the drop of a hat and still do well, it's really showing us he's now even painting the black. That was a heater inside that gets the call.
Yeah, like I said, he's playing pitch and catch right now. And sometimes you're going to dot up those when you feel comfortable as a pitcher when you're rolling.
So even counting out of Joey Ireland, the shortstop.
Ireland's had a couple of good at-bats today. He's hit the ball hard. I mean, he had the line out in the first inning. He singled in the third. Had that deep fly out to left field as well. He's put the ball in play, and he's putting in play hard.
1-1. He's going to have to get Joey Ireland to jump a bit back. It's going to be a 2-1 count.
And you can see Saucedo's lost his footing a little bit here, and so Diaz is going to go out and talk over things with him for a little bit here. Interesting decision here of what they go with next. Up, like you said, behind 2-1 in this at-bat. 1 out in a 1-run game.
And it's getting closer and closer to that 2-hour mark that we saw creep up on us in the first one. It was a 7:06 first pitch. It's now 8:43 Central Time. So can only see how far this one goes. It is a 1-run game. Bottom of the 7th will be the next half inning. So as long as nobody's held, we could see some extras again. Way inside. Ireland almost hits him.
23 minutes to be exact.
So we'll see how much baseball can be played in 23 minutes. I believe the time actually might be 2 hours and 15 minutes from the first game. So we will see. Time will be called from Joey Ireland. Umpire alludes 3-1 the count. Board still has it wrong, that being the left center field one. It's going to be a walk on 5 pitches.
So now this is a fun spot and a tough spot here for Saucedo. Right now, if I'm a pitcher, and being a guy who has been in a similar spot as Saucedo is when, I used to pitch way, way back in high school.
Back in the glory days.
Yeah, peaked in high school.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Whenever I got into this scenario where the rare times I'd come in as reliever, if I came into this spot, I'm thinking right away, okay, induce a ground ball.
Runner goes. The throw down from Diaz will not get the speedster and Joey Ireland, so he'll have a stolen bag. So Derek Holmes, he's going to be working with a runner in scoring position.
Well, that changes my exact answer to you now that Ireland's on second base.
So how does it change?
It changes because now you're okay with a fly ball.
Swing and a miss. Change of one right past the bat, and Derek Holmes.
You're okay with a fly ball because now, if it's hit a shallow fly ball, unless Ireland thinks he can really beat it, Ireland's probably being held at second, because they're not going to try to risk the third out of the inning at third base.
Definitely not, especially if it's hit to left, even with the new check-in and Sam Merrill. With
the runner on first, you can end the inning with one pitch.
Yes.
Versus then you got to go for a whole nother at bat. So even though you're technically okay with a fly out there, because at that point an out's an out and you'll take it, it's a matter of ease at this point. But now the ease is gone, so anything helps.
0-2, runner's going to go. It's going to be hit back up the middle, but a sliding shortstop, Tomasic, is going to throw home. Actually, a really smart idea from there. So it will be an infield single, but you now have the traditional double play set up in order.
Yeah.
It's an odd play. I will give you that. So you might be confused why I think it was a good play. But just based on the fact that Joey Ireland was really antsy and motivated to keep moving after stealing second, it looked like he was going to go home.
Yeah, I mean, he took a hard turn around third, tracking him around the base paths. But you got to get the out, though.
I also understand that. But you're going to see that situation. The middle infield is going to play.
They're going to do
double play defense. Corners are going to be in.
You have to hold him, though, on first. And right now, I mean, Saucedo has to make a pickoff attempt because right now, I mean, look at how far Holmes is off the bag.
Yeah, but you're now going to see Joey Ireland move. So Cesar Marquez, if it's anything away, he's going to have to really stretch and pull it in.
But here's the benefit, though, being a right-handed pitcher, though.
Yeah.
That guy on third cannot get an aggressive lead against you. The guy on first can.
He's going to take that base, so now.
And that's why you want the out at first base.
Yeah.
Because you knew
that was going to happen.
And granted, you can say, oh, this is hindsight 2020, but, like, you get that out at first.
I won't even say hindsight's 2020. I thought originally there's so many ways to go about it. I think your way of looking at it was definitely right compared to mine, is that one's going to go over the head of Heidelberg.
Because my kind of opinion on this is Sure, okay. Ireland took a hard turn on third. There's no guarantee he goes.
Yes.
You make a quick throw to first, all of a sudden, if Ireland decides to go, you continue to trust your first baseman, who's a lefty who can immediately catch, turn, and fire.
Upstairs missed. It's 3-0.
Walk him.
He's got the open base.
Walk him. Just walk him.
You do have to realize, though, that it's Mason Jarrett up next, the right fielder.
I understand.
Who's two for three.
Yeah, Jared's 2 for 3, but
He will walk him.
it's now about finding the force outs
Yep.
and what's going to be easier for you to get out of this inning. And that's, I think, why this walking in makes sense. Now, I know it was intentional, but that's about as intentional of an unintentional walk as you would see.
So now Mason Jarrett, the right fielder, is coming up with ducks on the pond. Try to ensue a jailbreak. Elias Diaz is calling for everybody to play in outfield and infield alike. If there's a force out at any bag. First pitch. Right down the middle.
Yeah, and I like how he even called the middle infielders in. Typically, in this scenario, is doubles back, corners come in. Here, he brings everyone in. He says, look, our focus right now is on Ireland coming to the plate.
Swing and a miss. 0-2.
And sometimes you see teams, when it gets the 2 strikes and 1 out, they put the doubles back up the middle.
They're playing straight up now.
They still have them in because.
No, I mean straight up to the grass.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They still have them coming in because they still are playing for that chance.
0-2. Goes with a curveball. 12-6 motion, is not able to dip its way into the zone.
Yeah, right there. If he finishes that, a lot of times the curveball, the key thing with the curveball is how you follow through. Sometimes if you just snap it, let it go, and you don't follow through with it, it hangs. And you saw right there it hung.
Went back to it. Bit too much hang time on that one. Even 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And that time when it's that high, you're getting that time when you got that motion there, but it's high, that means it's all about release point.
Yep.
So there's 2 errors that you can find with a curveball in terms of your misses. It's either about whether you follow through or not. That's where you don't get the break at all. And then if you get the break, but your release point's off, and because you finish high, then you know if you're still getting that vertical break, but you're finishing high, that means your release point is off.
So after that foul ball was a heater that Saucedo threw, Mason Jarrett was late on it too. He was under it and also late, just able to get the back of the aluminum bat to make contact. So I believe that Josiah Saucedo might be ahead. 2-2. Goes with the off speed, and he's going to hit it right into left field for a base hit. It's just going to move everybody up 1 position. So it will be an RBI single for the right fielder as the bases are going to remain loaded.
Station to station baseball. I love it because they're still threatening. Sometimes in that scenario, you try to go for the big momentum and the big, dagger in that scenario by trying to get 2 runs there, make it a 3-run game, and just kind of take all the momentum. That's a smart hold up at third base right there. It keeps your momentum alive, and there's still only 1 out in the inning.
And that's really the way that you're just able to get everybody involved, as Christian Lott is going to be the runner at third. He's coming in for Derek Holmes. So Lott is on third. Demir Heidelberg's on second. Mason Jarrett's on first after the RBI single. And Amir Rule, the backstop is up. First pitch he sees causes Diaz to slide to the left.
Yeah, now it's crucial because run differential will likely play in a factor, especially come Saturday when every team's playing several games. Run prevention now is key. You're down by 2. White Sox did a phenomenal job getting that insurance run. Exactly what you want to do in that scenario. And they did it. They came through when they needed to most.
Inside miss. Actually, he's going to call that. Wow. That was a pretty gracious call.
Yeah, wow.
Okay.
We move.
The 1-1 pitch on the way from Saucedo. Bounces his way to the plate. A great block from Diaz behind the dish. That probably saved another run.
Saves another run, and what also helped him was the fact that ball skipped towards Lott at third. Typically, even if he blocked it, in that scenario there, you see how far that ball rolled up the line even though he blocked it?
Yeah.
If that's the other side, that runner's coming home.
Oh, definitely. The infield is still playing in. Tomasek is actually 2 steps onto the infield grass. Basement for that pitch. It's going to be another one. It's 3-1.
And he's and you can see he's uncomfortable right now. He was just shaking his head after that last pitch right now. He just can't seem to find it right now. And as a pitcher, it might be the loneliest feeling in the world.
3-1. It's going to be outside. He's going to walk in another run. So it's going to be 3-0. White Sox Nike RBI leaves as the baton will be passed to Brandon Jones.
Right there, that's just great plate discipline. You knew in that spot it was just going to be, I'm taking till I see a strike the entire way. And that was it. And you knew that was going to happen. And especially this White Sox Nike RBI team. They're such a patient team. They really are. They're so good at waiting for their moments and then attacking, or waiting for their moment and then taking it, because they know their takes are a smart take. And right there, perfect example of that in this inning.
And you just don't see that from kids at this age. You know, normally we've been calling college sport, those are grown men. These are 15-year-olds. So the fact that they're having these type of takes and knowing really when to just power through and when to hold all that power back shows the level of not only the RBI program, but just the power that's going to be here in the Central Regional Tournament.
For a long time, this regional is set up for success.
First pitch. It's going to be an inside strike to the DH Jones. Swings, and that's just going to be a blooper into center field. That's going to score 1. Mason Jarrett is also going to make his way to the plate. It's going to be a 2 RBI single for Brandon Jones. It is a 5-0 ball game. It's the most offense we've seen all day, Kevin.
Yeah, and this, they're running away with this thing pretty quickly here. I mean, that's just great opposite field hitting there by Jones. Sees the infield, and all he has to do is he's like, if I get underneath this ball a little bit, with how shallow this infield's playing, I could hit a weak pop-up that maybe leaves the infield, but it's likely going to be a hit. And that was another example of it. However, that was much harder hit than a weak pop-up, but still.
Even then, it was just off the nose of the bat. He just kind of poked it. It's like he was swinging a stop sign and just made contact. It's another bouncer. This one being to Mateo Morales. So he'll be ahead.
And right now, this White Sox Nike RBI team, 4 runs in this inning. They have really come alive, and you saw why they are going to be such a good team and a dangerous team in this regional, and they have a chance to repeat again because of just the completeness they are on the offensive side of the baseball. This inning's a perfect example, a microcosm of that.
Runners are going to go, and it's going to be a grounder under the glove of Laporte. So a swing is going to get one in just because it went under his glove. So another one is put up here. It is 6-0 White Sox.
So after the Jones 2 RBI single right there, that's just unfortunate for Laporte because he was trying to make a sliding play, and he couldn't do it. I think the runner didn't interfere with him or impact the way he played defense there, but it just kind of shielded him and kind of set a moving screen almost like you would see in a hockey game when you're screening a goaltender, or a basketball game where you just see a good pick and a screen.
And he was just not able to get his glove down, so it's going to be another hit. That being the 4th hit of the inning for White Sox Nike RBI. 4 singles. They also have 3 walks. The 0-1 count on the way to Layson. Strike is going to be called. Only still 1 away. The first batter who got out, as it was Layson, this actually is Brent Nevels. My apologies.
Nevels is the 9th man to come up, so unless a double play happens here, Layson's coming back up. Excuse me.
Just the way that Josiah Saucedo has been pitching. First batter he faced, he was carving some of his pitches. He was having a really good off-speed pitch. The fastball looked good, but just fell away. A walk, then a hit, then a walk, then a hit, then a walk, then a hit, then another hit. So he was going back and forth. He was going the distance on ABs. It's just the takes that the White Sox players have been taking have just really put them miles above, and that's why they've put up a crooked number. 1-2. Another save by Diaz. That slider was in the other box. It's 2-2.
Yeah, and he's been busy back there. And the guys you really feel bad for are those catchers back there in these long innings, because you know they're just trying to get anything out of their pitchers. Just get those final 2 outs out of them and get back to the dugout.
2-2 delivery. Fastball misses about 4 feet in front of the plate. It's full.
Yeah, and you almost wonder, though, how much is Saucedo going to go at this point. Now, you know, at this point, you could be chalking it up for however you want if you're a Cubs Nike RBI player, parent, coach, fan.
Listener.
Yeah.
But it's also game 1.
Yeah, exactly. It's game 1 of a tournament.
We did see in the 18U that a lot of the pitchers went 6 innings, if not 6 2/3 or anything, as there's another walk and the bases are going to be reloaded. But this is game 1. So if you're going to have, let's say, a bad outing or not want to go to the bullpen, this is going to be the game to do it. Because depending on your start, if you start 1-0, okay, cool. We know a guy we can trust a few days down the line. If you start 0-1, you said, okay, let's give this guy a few more days rest. But in the situation of earlier when it is a tie game, now you just got to put them both together.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. Like, I mean, these tournaments are so weird.
Yeah.
Because, like, the way they coach them and the way you coach and the way you play, especially, this is mainly a coaching thing, really. I'm not trying to criticize any coaches, obviously, because that's not what we're trying to do. I'm just kind of explaining kind of just how it works.
1-0 pitch is going to be upstairs. This is to Hayden Layson. This is his second AB of the order, the 10th man to come to the box.
And coaches kind of change their philosophies about how they coach these type of tournaments, because it's so weird, because you save some arms because you know you have multiple games the next day.
Cut on a miss, 2-1.
But you also know that these tournaments, you know, the old saying, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Well, you need to have a good start and a good finish in these type of tournaments, because when only 2 teams go to the championship game, there's no bracket play.
It also comes down to how many runs you score at the end of it all.
That becomes a big tiebreaker.
That becomes the biggest of tiebreakers. So if you're the Cubs and you think, you know, this might be out of reach, you got to go into the bottom half and at least put up a couple. Because if it comes down to the Cubs, White Sox, Nike, RBI teams, whoever scores more is going to win that tiebreaker, especially in a contest against each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in this scenario that you're bringing up,
it's a very far-fetched scenario.
But it would be head-to-head would be the first tiebreaker.
Yes.
And then it would go from there.
It's a full count pitch to Hayden Layson. Cut on a missed, and he's going to be the second out of the inning. He was the first one.
That's rough for him. I feel bad for Layson. After being the first out of this long inning, you get a second at bat in the inning, you think, all right, here's my time. And he goes down swinging and gives some momentum back to Saucedo.
So Ireland is going to step up. He walked, stole a bag, and eventually came around to score. And this, quite an offensive prowess of an inning. He's going to get behind him. A hey now pitch. Nothing doing on that one. That was just a misfire.
Mm-hmm. Not in this scenario with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the 7th inning, down by 6. There's no point.
No. You also don't see that. These guys know each other. They play on the same travel ball teams. All that stuff is an off-speed pitch. It's going to hit the top of the zone, even the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. It was a top shelf miss on a fastball to Ireland, so he'll be ahead in the count. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
1 pitch. That's all you got to focus on if you're Saucedo. Just 1 pitch. All I need is 1 pitch to succeed here. Get out of this inning.
So it's going to be a 2-2 count to the leadoff man, Joey Ireland. Bases are juiced. Upstairs, so it's going to be run full. And that was actually okay for Saucedo. You're able to work with a pitch as much as you don't want to go full again. You are able to have that mistake of a pitch and go, you know what, it's time to lock in.
Yeah. And if I'm Saucedo at this point, I'm low-key just throwing a pitch down the middle.
Yeah. Throw a get-me-over.
Sometimes a 3-2 with 2 out, a fastball down the middle is
could be cut foul. In that situation, almost took out the legs of almost Braden Jones. Saw the way he just kind of jumped and looked at him.
And sometimes those 3-2, if you throw a fastball in the middle, there's I'm not saying every time, once maybe every 40, 50 at-bats, a 3-2 fastball down the middle, a guy would take looking because they're stunned. They're like,
you don't expect the obvious answer. It's almost like math homework.
Yeah.
Runners are going to go in the 3-2. Cut on and missed. Back-to-back strikeouts for Saucedo to get out of this inning. But 5 are going to come across to score on a massive offensive inning for White Sox Nike RBI. We're going to the last half, bottom of the 7th inning. Cubs Nike RBI. They really got to surmount a comeback here on WCSN. So it's a new pitcher for White Sox RBI, that being Jalen Ware. He's facing Will Lepore, Josiah Saucedo, and Cesar Marquez. Will Lepore is going to be ahead in the count 1-0. Cut on and foul one left side. It's even at 1. Another one that's going to be looped. There's going to be a running attempt by Brent Nevels, but it'll drop right in front of him. It's a 1-2 count.
I love the hustle there.
I do love the hustle
from Nevels right there. He was ready to crash into that railing and make a great catch, and instead it's a long foul ball. But credit to him, though. I love the hustle on display right there. Even though they're up by 6 in the bottom of the 7th inning.
1-2.
No short of hustle.
Right through the wickets of the pitcher and through the second baseman and shortstop. So he's able to find every opening possible. It's a leadoff single.
Yeah, and that's the scenario right there. Base runners, that's what you want for Cubs RBI. Get you some base runners in this inning and go to work.
And Will Laporte has really done it all today. Offensively, he's looked great. Defensively, he's looked great. See if he might be running. The first pitch to Josiah Saucedo is going to be off the plate.
Don't run.
Yeah,
if I'm the coach,
I mean, you are down 6.
If I'm the coach, I'm just it's immediate. It's just 90 feet unless this ball splits the gaps. It's 90 feet and that's it on the base hit. Essentially, your scenarios for an advancement here, if I'm the coach, and this is what I would tell my players, it's, hey, 3 scenarios. You get a board, you advance only 90 feet on a base hit or a wild pitch. You do not steal a base.
The pitch. It's off.
You take 2 bases and 2 bases only on my discretion if that ball is deep and it splits the gaps.
Yes.
Anything else, you are station to station or you are staying at your current base.
So ABC baseball and nothing else.
In this scenario, when you're down by 6, yes.
Early rip and hack that's going to go foul.
When you're down by 6, yeah, you have to go back to the ABCs of baseball.
Yeah.
You have to.
Station to station. Sometimes if you have to play small ball, you don't bunt in this situation, but still, you just play, if it's a chopper in the infield, you hustle down.
Yeah, exactly. Hustle it out, try to make it close, see if you can leg out a throw or see if you can, with good hustle, force a mistake and make it a throwing error on the infielder. You never know.
Never know what could happen. So after a miss from Jalen Ware, it's going to be a full count to the pitcher Saucedo. He's going to rip one just past the shortstop. It's through for a base hit. Actually going to that left center alley. So Will Laporte is into third. The throw will not be in time. So it's actually going to be a double for the pitcher. There's runner on second and third now for the Cubs.
Yeah, and that's the scenario. Literally right there. ABC's of baseball. Ball split the gap. 2 bases there for Laporte. Just like that, Cubs get a couple of runners in scoring position here. Can get a couple runs back, help their run differential, and who knows, make things fun and interesting here on a Thursday night.
Here's the big corner infielder, Cesar Marquez. 2 in scoring position, none away, facing a new pitcher and already hacking and fouling one away. You see there's some anger in that swing. He's just trying to put something into the outfield, put up a couple runs for himself, whether it be by chance of trying to come back or situation we talked about where you need the runs to be able to somehow, if need be, win a head-to-head matchup. That one's going to be hit into left field. Morales is going to no, he won't make the catch. It hit off of his head as 2 runners are going to score, and Cesar Marquez is going to cruise on to second. It's going to be a 2 RBI double.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I don't believe I've ever seen that before either.
I hope he's okay out there in the outfield. Morales is kind of shaken up out there.
Yeah. And it looked like he made the catch and that his hat came off.
Yeah.
It looked like that it might have skimmed the side of his glove, hit the top of his head, and rolled out behind him. Never seen that.
Neither have I.
So a rightful conference on the mound. Jalen Ware is going to be talking to not only one of his coaches, but the entire infield. You can see Mateo Morales in left field is not too happy with himself.
No, he's not. And it's a tough scenario there for him because he's just trying to make a play out there and he just misread the ball. And either he overran or he just missed it, which happens every now and then as an outfielder. It's part of the game.
Yeah. You're going to make mistakes, but the only way you can get better is by making those mistakes, growing from them, and keep going. And we've seen that in this game for both sides defensively, whether it's the shortstops in the infield. You're not double clutching. You're grabbing it and immediately firing to first. We've seen that adjustment be made. We've seen a bunch of adjustments be made pitching and batting, and I will not be surprised if Mateo Morales makes one. First pitch is in and low. So Christopher Rodriguez going to be ahead in the count with a runner on second base, at being Marquez. Looks at one through the K zone.
Nice job there by Ware. He's having a battle here. He does a nice job.
Ware is first base side of the rubber. Leg kick and deal. In the dirt, it's a good block by Amir Rule. But the DH is ahead in the count, 2 balls to 1 strike.
In this scenario right here, it's all about finding base runners, finding guys to get on base.
2-1.
Still is.
Chopper on the ground to the third baseman. Nevels, he's going to do a 360 and fire to first. Can't be picked by Heidelberg. So the runner in Marquez is going to score, and it's a 6-3 ball game.
Hang on here. I don't know if Marquez is safe or not. The umpire flailed his right arm up during the play in reference to Marquez. And I don't know if that was supposed to be an outfielder just saying, hey, it's a tag attempt, but he's safe. And I think that's what kind of the White Sox Nike RBI dugout's asking, possibly.
It will be ruled as an E5 as well.
And, yeah, it's a conversation. And, yeah, they just shook your head. So, yeah, he's going to be safe at the plate. So it's 6-3 now.
No game or lead is ever safe, whether it's summer ball, the bigs, or even now at this 15U level. And that's just the way that baseball goes. You're going to have those times where you have it and you don't have it. And that's just a day and night thing. You might have one day you're off, you sleep it off. The next day you could be the best player in baseball history.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of the game. No, that's the beauty of it, too.
Yeah. There is going to be a pitching change. It looks like Derek Holmes, who's playing second, is going to step in on the bump. It will be Derek.
Yeah, for where it's a tough go-around. He gives up 3 hits. Does not record a single put-out as well. And the error right there, we'll see how it's going to affect him. Right now, this is a very interesting ball game. 3 runs here. No one out still in the bottom of the 7th inning.
And this, with time limit-wise, will be the last half inning played. It's now approaching 9:15, which is past the 2-hour and 15-minute mark for the games are supposed to go. So this will be the last half inning. So if it ends on a tie, we could see 2 of those, Kevin.
Could you imagine 2 ties in one game on the first night of this tournament?
That might have some implications.
That'd really throw a wrench in things.
Not only see the first tie in 2 years that we've been doing this, but maybe 2 ties in the 2 baseball games played here at Curtis Granderson Field.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I mean,
never know.
Never know. I'm sure White Sox Nike RBI is saying, please no, let's close this thing out now. We'll see.
So Derek Holmes, who's just playing second base, is now going to be on the mound, trying to get 3 outs. Runner on first being Christopher Rodriguez. Just reached on an E5. First pitch on its way is a called strike on the outside black. Pitch down, but a back pick. Nothing doing.
Yeah, and it's a 2-strike count now. So right now, if you're a rule, just focus. Have Holmes' focus be directly on you. Your count here. Have him focus on the signs. Don't worry about the base runner.
0-2. Top
But,
shelves.
like, as much as we want to say that base runner matters, in the grand scheme of things, that guy on first base does not matter if you're Holmes on the mound right there.
Yes.
It really doesn't. So right now, focus on whatever rule's giving you. Sure, obviously give a glance. Make sure the runner's not, walking to second base. But don't let the pressure of him, as well as the Cubs RBI dugout, get to you.
Yes. You're still running. The runs that they've put up this inning is still half of what you have. But you have to try to stop their offense any way possible, and you just got to get that focus on the batter and get the first one. And he does with a swinging strikeout.
Big. And you talked about big strikeouts right there. I mean, Rodriguez had 7 of them. They're all in big spots. That might be the biggest one of the night right there.
Yep.
As Martin goes down swinging. However, the top of the order comes up now. So a golden opportunity here for Holmes as well as for the Cubs Nike RBI squad.
Tomazic, the shortstop. Runner on first. He's reached twice today as he cuts on and misses at a heater. In the first inning, it was a walk. He was stranded on first. The third inning, it was a single. He was stranded on second. And then a ground out to the second baseman, who's now pitching right now. So
It's crazy how high school ball works, is it not?
it is pretty crazy. So it's an 0-1 count. just fouled off the top of the screen. It's 0-2. Time was going to be called.
I like it. Both guys get a chance to reset, and Rule gets a chance to go over the signs one more time.
Really kind of just changes not only the approach, but you know how the first baseman, Demir Heidelberg, running in on that mound of his saying, hey, you may want to watch out for Rodriguez sitting over here at first. Has been a bit antsy a little bit. He's moving back and forth. And now you can see he is being held on. Oh, 2. Swing and a miss. Second strikeout of the inning.
And that right there was just a pitching masterclass right there from Holmes. The definition of climbing the ladder, going up with the fastballs over and over and over again, and now you're 1 out away.
So it's going to be up to Anthony Vizine. First pitch he sees gets through the legs of Amir Rule on the ground. The throw down to check on the moving runner is not going to be in time. That was a really close play. Christopher Rodriguez moved as soon as the ball hit the ground, and he was almost hosed because of it.
Yeah. I thought he thought that Rule didn't have it and it went to the backstop, so he thought he was going to have second base easily.
So it is going to be a 1-0 count to the center fielder. Takes a check swing, but will not go full. Probably about a 10% swing, so it's 2-0.
Once again, this is now Rule going over signs. You change up your signs as a catcher and pitcher when there's a runner that gets to second base.
Can't tip him.
You can't tip them, so you go up there. You say, hey, this is the indicator now, essentially by saying this is, the third sign I put down is the one that I'm actually calling.
On the ground to the second baseman, Ware. Throw to first. It's going to come out of his glove, but it will be called on the transfer, so that'll be the third out of the game, and that'll end the inning. It's going to be a 6-3 win for the Chicago White Sox. Nike RBI, they beat their crosstown rivals, Cub Nike RBI, in the first game they're going to face over a couple days.
Yeah, first game over a fun tournament coming up here the rest of this weekend. Obviously a bunch of fun games coming up, but that's a quality win right there for the defending regional champions. They make it 2 in a row against their north side foes, but overall, fun game. Cubs Nike RBI made it interesting though in the end, Austin.
And you have to. In these situations, you really are just going to give it everything you got. With how many games you're going to play over the next couple of days, if you're going to remember anything, you may not remember who's in the lineup. You may not remember necessarily who pitched, but what you do have to remember is that you lost, and you're not going to allow that to affect you, and you will not allow it to happen again.
You're absolutely right, and that's the mentality now that this Cubs Nike RBI team has to have tomorrow.
That's the only way you could do it, but that'll be day number 1 of the MLB Nike RBI Central Regional Tournament here on the campus of UIC. I'm Austin McCroom. It's Captain Malater to the left of me. We thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with a boatload of games. Thank you so much. We're signing off from Chicago.